Welcome to another episode of, you guessed it, Stand Up with Tico. I'm your host, and the show is called hashtag CS24_Tico group. Today we're going to be discussing computer architecture module number 3. So let's get some peeps in here. Excuse me. And first, again, we have Mr. Guzman.
Sorry, what now?
I said first again, we got Mr. Guzman, who arrived early yesterday as well. There's Jade.
Hey, what's up?
Catherine.
Hi.
Just FYI, I'm fixing dinner, so if I take a bit to answer, because my hands are dirty.
No problem.
What's your
Broken
making?
dinner is not a happy dinner, so.
I'm making open-faced chicken pot pie.
Ooh.
Open face.
Yeah,
Like, can you explain that real quick? So, like, the idea of open face, is that just like there's no top to it? It's just.
yeah. Well, no, this one it's just not in a pie, so you get like nice biscuits, your favorite biscuits, and then it's inside of the pot pie, but you pour it on top. It is so good.
Have you guys ever, like, I'm guilty. Have you ever licked your finger like just like pinky to thumb like that one way and then the other way? Because
yeah, I've been guilty of that.
yeah, guilty as charged. Cuff me, cuff me. Luis, you've never done that, but you put a computer together. I guess that goes with the complexity. That's something.
I'm a
I guess
one finger at a time
simple folks.
kind of dude.
Oh, gotcha. Just waiting for Mr. Obeda and Mr. Bryant. Let's see. Let's tag them. Okay. Go ahead and get this show started. Let's go by order of. Oh, there's Mr. Bryant. Okay, so then just gotta hit up Mr. Obeda right here. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with order of entrance. Let's start with Mr. Luis Guzman. 60-second breakthrough. Ready, set, go.
All right, so breakthroughs for today. Actually, very similar to my problem yesterday. There's another scoping issue where I had the counter. Actually, what I had was inside my while loop, because I'm still using an if-else cascade. So inside my while loop, I had a copy of the PC counter, not PC, but the SP.
Stack counter?
Yeah,
or stack pointer, sorry.
A copy of the stack pointer. And then every time my while loop reset, it reset to whatever I initialized stack pointer to, which was 243. So it took me a while to figure that out. I just had to put print statements like everywhere. But once I figured it out, it ran pretty much smooth after that.
Nice. Very nice. I don't remember exactly. Was there more than one person in our group that did the branch tables? Implemented those instead of doing the if-else?
I did one. I did a jump table.
Yeah, I saw you link the stuff to it, and I've been reading through it like off and on throughout the day, but I got some good information in there.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I love Googling. As soon as I came in the readme, I was like, what is that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's do Catherine next.
So I got ahead and I was watching Bija's lecture. I had trouble following Brady today. One, I was really tired because I was up late watching Netflix. And two, I just had trouble following his train of thought. So I had like looked at like the first part of like Bija's lecture, like on double speed or 1.5 speed, and then I started watching his like the first 30 minutes on 1.5 speed for like tomorrow's lecture, and I just So then I just like started tackling things with, yeah. So I don't know, doing things, it's breaking through. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Just a quick question. Is Netflix still $7.99 a month, or is that just the old legacy price?
Not sure. I just have like
I-
other people's passwords, so
Oh, wow. Free 99 is even better. Wow.
I
All
think
right.
I think they're up to $9.99. I think that's the old legacy price.
$9.99 is the brute force price. Catherine came through with
Yes.
the
You don't get
memoization price. You know what I'm saying?
you don't get DVDs in the mail anymore.
Yeah, you can if you have an old, because my dad still does, even though he doesn't watch them. They just sit there. He has some for like, I think 3 or 4 years. They're just sitting there.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Guess you
Popcorn
can't still get
Jade.
DVDs in the mail, huh?
Huh.
Popcorn Jade. Jade, go.
Oh, okay. So breakthrough, I didn't really have one today. I got through it pretty easily just based off of what Brady was doing. But I have been going back over beaches because, like Catherine was saying, I had trouble following Brady today. He seemed maybe just a little more scattered than usual. So I'm going through that, and then I kind of took a peek at the sprint. So I just want to make sure I understand and I'm ready for that. So yeah, that was me today. Popcorn Bryant.
Um, let's see. Yeah, I I was able to, to put the functions um, into like a dictionary table. Um, it's something I kind of read about before and like how to utilize objects or dictionaries, and then Python, how they functions are first class citizens, that stuff. So that was kind of cool. That was my first thing I've been working on it earlier, not just today. But yeah, that was kind of cool to get rid of the if else logic. So yeah, that's the thing that was my first thing. And I think beta as well.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everyone. There's no real breakthrough. I guess maybe the only thing is I was trying to write the code myself, and it wasn't working in the beginning. And I think the breakthrough was make sure you know what you're writing, not just writing for the sake of writing the code again. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess I have popcorn Tico.
All right, cool. So my breakthrough actually happened like late last night after our stand up. So like I live in a small town, about 1,100 people, right? So if you are somewhat remotely like interested in technology, you're like an expert already. So like I'm an expert of an expert of an expert right now because there's only 1,100 people. There's like cows that and windmills that outnumber us. So no stoplights or anything like that. So at a church, like I'm like the tech guy, like the CTO guy. So I found out that our church was actually paying an extra $30 per month for a streaming service called Boxcast. And what they were doing is they were storing our recorded live sermons on their servers. And that's just like the default setting. So like if you don't tell them that you don't want them to save your whatever it is you're recording on their servers, then they'll automatically do it and they'll charge you 49 cents per recording hour. And we have like 50 videos on there. So it comes up like 30 something or 30 to 40 bucks a month anyways. And so my pastor, he doesn't know. He just signs up for this stuff and we just want to stream it out, push it out to YouTube or Facebook or whatever. And so I'm like looking, I'm like, what is this like extra charge, you know? And so come to find out, like we could have easily just like after every video just record it and then just push it to YouTube or like download it to like a actual hard drive. So was able to do that for the church and able to save them $30 a month. So I thought that was kind of, I guess, my breakthrough. Yeah. So let's see. Bryant, yesterday I believe you were driving us, right, through San Francisco in the Ford Focus for our Project Euler problem number 10, and we didn't finish. So maybe we could hit that up, and then if we knock that out, we can try to optimize it and then bounce out of here, so y'all can go watch Pandemic on Netflix. So anybody wants to watch that, they can.
Is that a good?
Yeah, I heard it was really good. It was really good. I haven't seen it myself, but hey, I was thinking also too to create a little more pressure on us. I was wondering if while you're sharing, you could maybe open up a small window that would also display like a timer, because like the idea if we practice under pressure, like if you practice like you play, then you'll play better. So I'm thinking like maybe we're not feeling the pressure. Maybe we need to try to up the ante a little bit, yeah. Because yesterday we had like 30 minutes to solve it, and we didn't get the pseudocode going. And you guys got this technical assessment coming up on Monday. That's timed. You get about an hour per problem, but
yeah. So, yeah, that's good.
I'm gonna open up maybe another Chrome window, and then just have it in the background behind that, like over in that little area on the right of your screen, right between. Yeah, we could just display that right there, and then we could always have it. You can put it for like 32.
All right. I don't know. 0. Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
I know how to do a timer. Okay, everybody.
So, now there's pressure on right now. Look, Catherine's all honed in right now. Oh, Beta, we can finally see 3/4 of his face now instead of just half. Let's go. At least I can't see him. He's probably building a computer right now.
You know how hard it is to hold a laptop when it's on a table?
Yeah, I guess it is. Where did we leave off yesterday, huh?
We were all right. We left off we were in the prime checker function, and we were just getting some of the details worked out. So spoiler, I after the call, I just fixed up some things that were off, and then just set up the while loop. It was pretty quick. Once we had the prime number checker going, the while loop was
okay.
It went fast. I mean, building it went fast. Running it, it took a long time. I didn't even try it on REPL, but I did it on my machine, and I got an answer where I'm trying to.
How long did it take?
Probably, I don't know. I walked away for 15 minutes. So this is the number I got.
Does anybody know how to set a timer function so they can time the runtime of a method or function in JavaScript?
Not in JavaScript.
I have it. I think it's I'm pretty sure it's console.time and console.time end. And then you pass into a string, and the string has to be the same. So I believe that like on, let's see, let's try it for just the in the replit, Bryant. Can you put on line 17? Yeah, we'll just do it for the prime checker function. So on line 17, just put a console.time. And then you're gonna pass in there a string, and you can just name it like the name of the function. Yeah. It's just got to be in string format though, I believe. Yeah, and then below like line 35, maybe put console.time end. And I think end is capitalized. And you just pass in the same thing. Yeah, you got to pass in the same string. So it's got to be prime checker. Yeah.
Console.time.
Yeah, so now if you
time end like camel case?
Oh, yes, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have said that. Yeah, time end like camel case.
Okay.
My bad. Yep, and that should do it.
Okay.
So actually, if you just run it, it should just automatically print out. Okay, so yeah, so it tells you it's 0.144 milliseconds there. But that's how you do it. I mean, that'd be something cool too. You might impress your interviewer, I guess. If you're like, hey, do you want to see concretely what the difference is between the brute force and my optimized memoization solution?
Super cool. Okay, so if I did it for just
yeah, just for that while loop, yeah.
Okay, and that's for 20 limit. Okay.
So that right there, 77 would be the product, the Pythagorean product or whatever. The product of a Pythagorean triplet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I did. I put a primes array just so we could.
Wait a second. I thought that the problem was asking for the product of A, B, and C.
We already did that one. We moved on to prime.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wow, I feel like lahu, zaher. Oh, I'm sorry. We're on summation of primes.
That was like.
Sorry, guys.
Yesterday. First half of.
Got you. What's the runtime of this here?
O squared. Because we're looping to the limit. And within that, we're looping through each number.
So O squared would be worst case, right? Because the while loop would have to go, it's iterating through like every single number that's less than the limit. But what about moments where it finds that I guess never mind. No, it has to always.
So yeah, so this is the while loop will go up to the limit, but the prime checker could exit early, right? Like so what's the average?
Average or best case?
Best case. I guess if if you had a small limit and it was just prime numbers, like 3,
Best case is O of n.
Best case is O of n.
Yeah.
Even with the, like, it being nested inside.
If you're running a 3, you're only going to hit, okay, so it would still be O(n) squared.
yeah.
Could it ever be like, so like if you look at that for loop that Brian's talking about, if you're not gonna, basically every time you arbitrarily increase n, like the number of processes may differ, right? Because it may not finish all the iterations. Would that be log of n? O of log n, which is a little bit slower than just O of n. And then you would basically multiply that. So it'd be n log n. Instead of being, n times n, which is n squared, because they're nested, it'd be n times log of n.
Sounds right.
Does that make sense?
Right in the guts.
What'd you say, Luis?
But it feels right in the guts.
In the guts. Does anybody not see like how I arrived at n log of n?
Yeah, I don't. How did you do that?
Sure.
Yeah, can you repeat that? Sorry.
Sure, no problem. Oh, hey, my daughter's handiwork right there. Oh, come on, don't roll away from me.
What's the QR code?
Don't roll away from me when I'm talking to you, whiteboard. What's the what?
QR code.
Oh, the QR code, yeah. So I wear this thing called a shot clock because I have a difficult time waking up. And it's this device that you wear around your wrist. And then instead of alarm clock, it sends like an electrical impulse through the little device that you have here. And it actually wakes you up on that. And then
Knock yourself awake.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard life out here. So then I have to come out from my bedroom, walk out here, and it's actually paired to your phone. This device is called the shot clock. And then I actually have to scan the QR code in order for the alarm to turn off. Otherwise, it'll keep shocking me every 120 seconds. So that's what it's come to,
That's
ladies and gentlemen.
awesome.
That's what it's come to. Because my wife also would smack me if I have an alarm clock that wakes her up. She's a light sleeper.
So is it shock clock or shot clock?
Shock, SSHOCK. Shot clock.
So dope. All right.
Wow.
Yeah. So it is real.
That's hardcore.
It's very effective though. Okay, so the way that I got that problem was, okay, so that original for loop we have, right? That for loop, whatever it is, this whole thing, and then you have a while loop down here. While, okay. So we decided that the while loop, no matter what, it was going to go through all iterations, right, of whatever we pass into there, which will be the limit, correct?
Yeah.
Because we have a variable like that starts at 0 and goes all the way up to the limit. We know that this is O of n, right? We know that's O of n. So if we assume that this for loop up here is O of n, then what you do is you just do O of n times n, right? Which equals O of n squared. But we just talked about, was that Brent?
Stop sharing.
Oh, okay.
Can we share? I was just so we can
sure.
see your screen.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, I don't know. Whatever you guys think is more important. I mean, I'm not even writing that much code. You can share. You can go ahead and share your screen, Brian. I'll just talk through it, and you guys can look at the code if you need to. Okay, so on line, let's see. Function prime checker. So like that initially, it just looks like a regular for loop. But unless you actually go through and you start looking at each iteration and you try to slowly increase num over time, you're like, whoa, wait a second. It's going to jump out at certain times. It's not going to go all the way through up to num from 1. And then you have like, so like, you know that could be O of n worst case, but it might be better, right? And what's better than O of n would be O of log n. And then down here in the while loop on line 42, you know that it's going to go from num all the way up to the limit. Or sorry, it's going to go from 0, or sorry, num is 1. So it's going to go from 1 all the way up to the number just below the limit. So that is going to be O of n, right? And like I was saying here, so O of n times n is O of n squared. But if you do O of n times log n, remember, which is just slower than O of n, then you get O n log n, right? Does that make sense, kind of? So it's still better than O of n squared, I guess, if you're talking about average, or I guess the best case. Yeah, best case. But worst case, yeah. Worst case, just make sure you say that's O of n squared. Worst case, just in case. How do we optimize this bad boy? Oh, by the way, Brian, can you share the answer? I mean, I also have it too. I guess I had dropped it.
In the while loop, is num increasing?
Yeah.
Oh, it's below it. Sorry, I didn't see that one. How does it know? All right, so it's increasing here. Okay, and then you're passing it into prime checker.
Mm-hmm. So like if you wanted to be more explicit, you could just make the that while loop into a for loop, right?
Well, so
I think you wanted a while loop. Sorry again.
Increasing.
So do you want me to explain the while loop, like what I did?
Sure.
Okay, so going from 1 to the limit, so like 2 million would be the for the problem. Run the function. If it returns true, then that means that there's been 2 divisors, and the self of the number was one of them. Otherwise, it would return false. There are more than 3 divisors. There are more than 2 divisors. And then it is for total 0. That's the running total of the product of the primes, right? That's just adding the number to total and then increasing them by 1. Primes.push. I just did a primes array just to see the primes.
On line 24, so count is like the divisors, then the and I equals num. So like you're passing in num, and then you're looping through I up until or equal to num.
Right. Yeah. So we're looping. So if the number is 5, we're starting at 1 through 5, and count is the number of divisors. So num module I. If it's 0, right, then it's a divisor. If count reaches 2 and the divisor is equal to the number, then we know that it iterated through number, and the second divisor was itself, right? Does that make sense? Like that was kind of the inner. I think last night when I was going through it, we were talking about it. I had like another like a nested one, like if number equals I, then return true. But yeah, this was kind of tricky. Like I think it was either Obed or Luis. I think it was Luis who was saying like if I is equal to the
Yeah.
number, then that'll indicate
Yeah, it was
that
Luis.
it's being divided by itself.
Right.
Which was yeah. I mean, you could also, I guess
Like
you could do
Go ahead.
if it ends and the count is 2, then return true.
I think
I
the logic behind it was like Luis was trying to optimize. So, because basically the idea, right, is if you find a number with more than 2 divisors, you know that it is not prime, right? And so what he did is instead of looping through once, right? Oh, okay, I found a divisor. Looping through twice, I found another divisor, and then looping to a third time, and then like finding a divisor and adding it to the array or whatever, like or sorry, to the count, and then coming back up and going into another iteration and realizing, whoops, I already have 3 divisors. Let's just exit out of this. What he did was, as soon as you hit the second one, as soon as count becomes 2, you're like, yo, like since I'm counting from 0 and I'm making sure each of these numbers from 0 all the way up to the num itself, whether or not those are divisors, then go ahead and check for me right here and see if the number of divisors is equal to, or sorry, I is equal to the number, right? Because
I see
because
now.
all prime numbers are
Yeah.
one in itself. So it was like a very clever way of not having to go through a third loop.
Very cool.
I guess we could put else return false. So like, oh no, wait, no, sorry, never mind.
Yeah.
Like, I guess this could be like if count is number 2, and then in here, if I equals number, return true, else return false, and we'll get rid of this down here.
You'll have to erase line 30, I think. Yeah.
What's the undefined for?
It shouldn't return undefined ever, but I think it's just it was something that they were doing in the Udemy courses, the data structures ones. I think it's just to return something to help your code not be buggy or whatever.
Nice.
Also, I was looking at that again, and I just dropped I guess a figure of logarithm rules, and so I'm actually thinking that it might not be O of n log n. It might be O of log n times log n, which would be, according to that table, it says logarithm product rule. So it'd be just like log of x plus log of y. I don't know though. Maybe you guys could look at it. I'm thinking that because with the while loop, we're not always going to be running. We're not always going to be pushing, right? In the while loop at the bottom. We're only going to be pushing in the event that it is a prime number, correct? So line 40, 50, line 50 and 51, like those won't be run unless it is a prime number. So that's why I'm wondering if that would be, O of log n, and then that for loop up top would also be O of log n. And then when you multiply the two, would that be right? Does anybody know logarithms really well? Multiply 2 logarithms together?
It's like the opposite of a square, right? So
Mhm.
what you would multiply something by to get 2.
Mhm. Well, either way, it's either O of n log n or O of log x plus log y. How would we? Is there any way to optimize this?
I think that the first time we did prime, like before I made this change, it was like 0.14.
4, yeah.
So we just saved a little bit of time there.
So how do we optimize this? What should be your
Cash.
go? Yeah. Where? He said cash, like cash money. Cash.
Like instead of passing in number, I don't know if we find it. I don't know. I'm tired.
Check. You want to put the total along with the prime number into the cache. So the prime number is the key, and then the total is the value. So if the key is in the cache, then you can grab the total, and then
Okay.
just add the new prime to that total.
Yeah. So you prevent yourself from
But
having to do calculations that have already been done.
yeah, but where do I put that, or where do we put that? I have no clue.
What are you
Okay.
caching?
So like I think, I mean, you can put a cache like anywhere. I mean, like ideally you don't want to put it so it's like global, I guess, is the way they globally. They want it, you just want to put it in a place where it'll be like it'll persist, and then basically log all of the calculations you've already done. So like we'll say we do like we want to figure out if like 15 is a prime. Oh, I guess it wouldn't work for the prime checker function. It would just work for the other loop down here that you have, which we probably should put that in a function. But yeah, you put it somewhere within that function there, have it persist. So actually it might be outside of the function, but yep. And then you would store, like Obeda said, you would store for the key, you would store the value of the number or the limit. Sorry, you store the limit, and then as the value of that key, you would store the total at that number, right? Like so to include everything up to that number, but it would be the key would be the limit, and then the value would be the total summation of all the prime numbers up to that number. So then if you call a higher number, you can just grab the value from the largest key and then add that to your running total on line 41. Then you can go ahead and skip any sort of calculations that you need to do just to get there. You think oh.
Okay, sorry, just housekeeping stuff.
I can drop the answer in the channel.
So the idea is the number and the running total, and if you had a higher value, you don't have to do push.
Mm-hmm. Because
We'd still
get-
have 2 loops, right?
yeah, we still have 2 loops. It'd still be faster. You wouldn't have to do as many calculations. Like if you did 2 million, like imagine the number of calculations that would be cut down from that. Yeah. Anyways, so that's it. That's good, y'all. Go get a break, get some rest. Tomorrow's last day before the sprint. Good work per usual. Yeah, cool. Any other questions or anything? Yay? Nay? No? Oh, just to share with everybody, I did get rejected by Lifeway Christian, the interview I had last Thursday, but I did get a offer letter for part-time TL for the next cohort, which will allow me to work for the startup that I got hired for 8 weeks after. So I'll have like 2 part-time gigs, I guess. So
All right.
get it how you take it, I guess, right? I guess I'm just not ready for that full-time life, yeah?
Hustle.
Not ready for that full-time life. Luis has some good news too, but I don't know if he wants to share it with y'all.
I'm going to be a TL.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Right.
Congrats, man.
Full time, part time.
Oh,
Full time for CS 26, I think.
Sweet. Awesome.
Nice.
Yay.
yay.
It's a good
All right.
module to be a TL for.
What's that?
Seems like CS is a great module to be a TL for, like if you're trying to also
Improve
Yeah.
your skills. Yeah,
Should learn a lot, I hope.
yeah. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
See you
Oh, that's the
guys.
time. That's the timer.
See y'all later.
It just went off. There.